So I stopped using Coinbase when they froze my funds for well over a month without any given reason, but the real cherry on top was when they locked my friend's account for 1 year due to security concerns without any resolution, leaving him unable to access his crypto. And lately I've noticed a lot more users reporting these same issues: frozen funds, locked accounts, and zero help from customer support when things go wrong. But Coinbase is worth $80 billion and has over 100 million active users. Surely this doesn't happen often, right? Well, wrong. This kind of behavior has been happening for years now. But why is this happening? There has to be a reason, right? One Reddit user claimed you'll only have issues if you're doing dodgy stuff. But what exactly is this dodgy stuff they're referring to? And is that really the only reason Coinbase is treating users this way? I know from my own experience that I wasn't doing anything dodgy when Coinbase decided to freeze my funds. I had been a Coinbase user for years. I had the same bank account. I had bought crypto several times before. And then one day when I decided to buy a few $1,000s worth of ETH, they decided to freeze my funds for a couple months. So why does Coinbase freeze funds? Well, here's the thing. It's actually standard Coinbase policy to freeze funds or put funds on hold. And they claim that it's for security and fraud prevention. And that hold time can't be altered. So it's not unusual for Coinbase to freeze funds, at least temporarily, but why were my funds frozen for so long? I'll never know for sure. The only explanation I could find for why holds might get extended is due to disputed transactions or to ensure account safety. But since ensuring account safety is such a vague reason, I truly believe that Coinbase can freeze your funds for really any reason and any amount of time. And my suspicion is backed by countless testimonials from users who've experienced similar issues. Many users are calling Coinbase out for their shady behavior on X, so much so that Coinbase had no choice but to respond. However, their response turned out to be far worse than anyone expected. The first response to users' complaints came from Scott Shapiro, Coinbase's product director. In a PSA, Scott announced, "Don't use a VPN to access Coinbase. Attackers always use VPNs, so our risk models take that as a negative sign even if you're legitimately using your account. Oh, and same with ad blockers and other extensions." So basically, since Coinbase wants to save money by relying on an AI risk model, users are forced to sacrifice privacy and security if they want to use the platform. And after facing major backlash, Scott wrote another post saying his earlier comments about VPNs and ad blockers were poorly worded, but to me his original message was crystal clear. Don't use VPNs to access Coinbase. Naturally, his attempt to backtrack didn't sit well with his already frustrated users, leading to even more pushback from the community. So then Coinbase support decided to jump in and directly call out the crypto community, claiming there's a lot of FUD and misinformation about Coinbase restricting accounts. In their post, they tried to shift the blame on their subpar fraud prevention system, saying they've seen a surge of new users and reactivated accounts post-election, along with a 2 to 3x increase in fraudulent activity. The only problem with this statement is none of this is new. Coinbase has been restricting account for literally years now. And I don't think any of this would be such a big issue if Coinbase offered some decent customer support when issues do arise, especially considering how much money they rake in from all the fees and Coinbase One subscriptions that they have. And that's another thing. Users have been extremely loud about Coinbase's lack of customer support, yet there's been no improvement. In fact, their support has only gotten worse over the years as the company continues to grow. So rather than offering some decent customer support, Coinbase relies heavily on AI chatbots to provide useless answers and makes it almost impossible to talk to a real customer support representative. And even when you do reach someone, you're put on hold for hours just to be told they can't help you due to security concerns. So when my friend's account was locked for a year, he had reached out to customer support and had talked to many real people, yet they always just gave him the runaround, telling him the same thing, that they couldn't help him due to security concerns. It wasn't until he threatened legal action that Coinbase escalated his ticket, and within a couple of days, magically his account was unlocked. And maybe, just maybe, if their CEO, Brian Armstrong, who's worth an estimated $14 billion, wasn't so busy spending all the company's money on $140 million mansions, Coinbase could afford to offer users real customer support. But instead, the users continue to suffer. But one of the more important questions is, what can you do to prevent any of these things from happening to you? Because on the flip side, there are a lot of Coinbase users who are happy with Coinbase and have never had an issue. So for those of you who plan to stick with Coinbase, I want to share a couple very important tips to help you avoid any issues with your account. Number 1, avoid frequent large transactions. 2, stick to verified payment methods like ACH and bank cards. 3, disable VPNs, ad blockers, and security software temporarily. 4, update and verify your personal information as needed. 5, limit transfers to new wallets. 6. Access your account from trusted devices. And 7. Be wary of logging in from unfamiliar locations or unfamiliar devices. And I think some of those points are complete BS, so that's why I've decided to stop using Coinbase altogether. And I have found some really good alternatives, which I want to share with you next. But before I share these alternatives, I also want to point out some very important things that most people don't know about crypto exchanges in general that will make you rethink storing any crypto on exchanges. First off, Coinbase and all the other popular crypto exchanges are not FDIC insured banks, and your cryptocurrency is not insured or guaranteed by the protections of the Federal Deposit Insurance. So if something happens to an exchange, like it's shut down or it's hacked, you are not guaranteed to get all, if any, of your crypto back. Also, because exchanges like Coinbase are centralized platforms, when crypto pumps and their platform is slammed with users, they often experience downtime, which prevent you from accessing your account and being able to trade your crypto. Yikes.